Creating a multiplayer game really isn't very hard, but there are a few things that you have to be aware of before you do so. So I could easily go into my scene, and I could of course add multiple Mambos on here, but the issue with that is both Mambos are controlled with the same keys, and so thus how could I have two different players controlling each their own Mambo? So there's a couple of things that we need to do first, and that you need to make sure you're aware of. So first thing we need to do is we need to actually create a second player. So this says a Mambo. I haven't prepared a second set of graphics, so I'm just going to use the same Mambo graphics for both. That might be a little confusing for players, so it'd be a good idea if you at least like change his color or something. But for demonstration purposes, this will work. So I'm just going to duplicate him, because I don't feel like making him from scratch and adding all the different behaviors. If I go into the copy, you'll see all the same animations here already. You'll see the different behaviors that we have from the kit. So we have die in a pit, we have jumping, stomp, walking. So the issue here is even now that we have two different Mambos, the same controls are still being used for both. So from there we need to go into settings, and we need to actually create a second set of controls. So this isn't just up, this is like Mambo 1 up, Mambo 1 down, Mambo 1 left, Mambo 1 right. Now you don't necessarily have to label these this way, but it's going to make it easier when we get to the next stage, because when we have to reassign some actions to one Mambo and the other actions to a new Mambo, having them very clearly labeled makes it easy to know that you are applying the right controls to the right Mambo. So now I'm going to add new controls. So this will be Mambo 2 up, and we'll make that one W, and this will be Mambo 2 down, and that will be S, and Mambo 2 left, which will be A, Mambo 2 right, which will be D, and we could also have the action keys. So action 1. Now the default action key for Mambo 1 is Z, which is way over here next to W, A, S, and D, so it's not a very great space for that. So maybe this should be like control, and then the action key for Mambo 2 could be space. That's a pretty logical place to put your thumb if your fingers are resting on WASD. Alright, so now that we have two different sets of controls, now we need to actually apply those controls to my second Mambo copy. We'll go ahead and close Mambo just to make sure that those new key settings are reapplied when we reopen him. So now if we go to behaviors and we go to jumping, we can see all of the different ones that I just put in here. Now unfortunately it doesn't do a very good job of alphabetizing. You can see they're kind of randomly arranged, which I'm not sure if that's a bug. I'm going to assume that's a bug. I'm assuming that they will eventually fix that, but it is what it is. So I'm going to make up be the jump button, and this is, oh, we're on Mambo 2, so I need to find M2 up. There we go, and that looks fine. I don't have any sound for mine right now because I don't want a bunch of noise while I'm demonstrating. And stomp on enemies, so this needs to also be M2 up. And then walking, the move right key needs to be M2 right, there that is. Left needs to be M2 left, and that should work. Now since I've changed the names of the original key bindings, I need to go and check on the original Mambo and make sure that his behaviors are still set right. And they are not, so it's a good thing I checked. So this needs to be Mambo 1 up, and stompable group, jump key, okay, jump key. This needs to be Mambo 1 up, And walking, let's see, Mambo 1 right, there it is. Move left key, let's see, where's Mambo 1 left? There, that is. And now if we test the game, uh-oh, oh, I know what happened. So now that I've applied both sets of controls to each of my two different Mambos, I need to go back into my scenes, and I need to actually make sure that I'm using both Mambos. Now I drew two Mambos here already, but this was before I made the duplicate. So both of these Mambos are actually just the regular Mambo. So I can delete one of the Mambos, and I can add him. So I have this Mambo, and I have this Mambo. Two different Mambos. And we can see down at the bottom, Mambo 1 and Mambo copy 6. And he's listed as 6 because he was the 6th little actor on here that I placed. So Mambo 1 was the first, ID 1. Then we have these different prongers that I put on here. So 2, 3, 4, 5. And then finally 6. So that's why he's copy 6, if you're wondering. So now if we test it, here's one Mambo with WASD. So that works. And here's the other Mambo with the left, right, up, down arrow keys. Now if I wanted to, I could even add a third Mambo if I wanted to make it 3-player. I mean, really you can add as many as you want. You're just having to think, where can I kind of map things on a keyboard, and there's only so much space. So I'm already using WASD, I'm using the arrow keys. If you're thinking of people playing on a full-size keyboard, they might be able to use the numpad on the right side. If you want to try to squish 4 players' hands in there, which is getting a little tough, you could maybe even try using IJKL as sort of a parallel configuration as WASD. But it starts getting very crowded for people's hands, so I don't think I would even hesitate to go beyond 2 players. Now keep in mind, right now I have 2 Mambos here, but once we get to the next level, test 2, I only have 1 Mambo here. So to make sure that both players can play every level, I would need to also go into the actors and drop in the other Mambo.